The observation deck of Station Kirnith had never been designed for this. Ambassador Velkoth watched through the reinforced viewing port as the human child entered the predator nursery chamber. Aaron Kale, barely 6 standard cycles old, clutched a worn fabric creature to her chest, something the humans called a teddy bear. Her guardian had assured the council that the girl would be safe. The council had not believed it. They were about to be proven catastrophically wrong, or miraculously right. The Kirneth were apex predators, evolved on a death world where 3 suns scorched the land, and prey evolved armor plating as thick as starship hulls. Their young, the broodlings, were born with instincts honed by a million years of survival. Hunt, kill, dominate. Even other predator species kept their distance from Kirneth nurseries. The broods were unpredictable, violent, and utterly lethal to anything that moved wrong. Aaron took 3 small steps into the chamber. 12 sets of luminescent eyes locked onto her immediately. Velkoth's secondary hearts seized. This was madness. The human diplomats had insisted that their young could interact safely with the brood. They claimed humans possessed something the Kirneth had never encountered: an ability to bond across species lines. Even with the most dangerous predators, Velkoth had dismissed it as mammalian delusion. The largest broodling rose from the heated stone platform. Sirakesh, daughter of the brood matriarch, stood nearly 4 feet tall despite her youth. Obsidian scales rippled across her muscular frame, and her jaw contained enough bioforged teeth to shear through reinforced alloy. She moved with the fluid grace of a natural-born killer. She approached Aaron directly. The human child did not run. She did not scream. Instead, she tilted her head and smiled, that peculiar expression humans made when they felt joy, and extended one tiny, fragile hand. "Hi," Aaron said softly. "I'm Aaron. Are you lonely too?" The translator rendered her words into Kirneth dialect, but something was lost in translation. The emotional resonance, perhaps. The vulnerability wrapped in courage. Whatever it was, Sirakesh stopped 3 feet away and lowered her massive head, nostrils flaring. Velkoth knew what came next. The broodlings always tested prey. 1 strike, 1 bite. It was instinct, unavoidable. But Sirakesh did not strike. Instead, she released a low, thrumming sound, a frequency Velkoth had never heard from a broodling before. It was not a hunting call or a warning. It was curiosity, tinged with something that sounded almost like loneliness. Aaron stepped closer and placed her small hand on Sirakesh's scaled snout. "You're beautiful," she whispered. "Can I sit with you?" What happened next would be studied by xenobiologists for decades. Sirakesh lowered herself to the ground, folding her powerful limbs beneath her body. She shifted slightly, creating a space beside her flank. Aaron, without hesitation, sat down and leaned against the broodling's warm scales, hugging her teddy bear close. Then the second broodling approached. Then the third. Within minutes, the entire predator brood, 12 of the most dangerous juvenile hunters in known space, had settled in a protective circle around the human child. Some rested their heads on their claws, watching her with half-lidded eyes. Others pressed close, sharing warmth. Sirakesh curved her body around Aaron like a living fortress, her tail creating a barrier between the girl and the observation port. Velkoth's hand trembled as he activated the intercom. "This is impossible." The human guardian, Dr. Sarah Kale, stood beside him with tears streaming down her face. "No, Ambassador. This is humanity. We evolved alongside wolves and turned them into dogs. We domesticated creatures that should have eaten us. We don't see predators, we see potential friends. It's not magic. It's loneliness, recognizing loneliness. Your child could have been killed." "Yes, Doctor," Keel admitted. But she wasn't. Because Aaron understands something most species forget. Everyone needs connection. Even apex predators. Especially apex predators. On the observation deck floor, Irene began to hum a simple melody, wordless and soft. The broodling's thrumming harmonized with her voice, creating an otherworldly chorus that resonated through the station's walls. Sirakesh's eyes drifted closed, and for the first time since her hatching, the young predator looked peaceful. The brood matriarch herself arrived an hour later, summoned by concerned handlers. She entered the chamber with killing intent radiating from every scale, ready to remove the threat to her offspring. She froze when she saw her daughter sleeping soundly, curled protectively around the human cub who had somehow done the impossible, tamed the untamable through nothing more than kindness and courage. The matriarch approached slowly, her massive form casting shadows across the sleeping forms. Erin stirred, opened her eyes, and smiled up at the towering predator. "Hello," she said sleepily. "Your babies are wonderful. Can I come back tomorrow?" The brood matriarch stared at the child for a long moment. Then she lowered herself to the ground beside Sarakesh and released a deep, resonant purr, the Kirneth expression of acceptance. Velkoth stood in the observation room, watching as the most feared predator species in the galaxy adopted a human child into their family structure. Every assumption he'd held about humans shattered and reformed. They were not the weakest species. They were not the most fragile. They were the bridge builders, the pack bonders, the ones who looked at teeth and claws and saw friends waiting to be made. Dr. Kell placed a hand on the viewing port, her voice thick with emotion. "We bring our children to the monsters, Ambassador, because we refuse to believe in monsters. We believe in connection, and sometimes that belief is enough to change the universe." As Erin slept peacefully amid the predator brood, Sarakesh's tail curled protectively around her small form. Velkoth finally understood why humanity had spread across the stars despite every disadvantage. They did not conquer through strength. They conquered through love, and there was no force in the cosmos more powerful than that.